Do you know what's happening in Regent Park? Revitalization in Regent Park is transforming our community into a mixed-income neighborhood with new residential buildings, retail, community facilities, and parks. Toronto Community Housing is engaging in a request for proposals (RFP) process to select a developer for Phase 4 and 5 lands in North Regent Park. A request for proposals is a public process that Toronto Community Housing must complete to ensure a fair and competitive method is used to select a developer partner for Phase 4 and 5 of Regent Park. We would like your participation.
I'm Jamelia.
And I'm Lorena.
And welcome back to Get to Know Revite.
In late 2018, the Toronto Community Housing Corporation, commonly known as TCHC, announced that they will issue a request for proposals to complete stages 4 and 5 of the redevelopment.
In order to resolve the questions asked by the community, the TCHC created the Revitalization Working Group to promote transparency and to engage residents in the finding of a developer.
We had the opportunity to talk to some of the Revite Working Group members.
Now let's get to know them!
Why did you want to get involved in the Revitalization Working Group?
I thought it was an important opportunity for me to get involved in the Regent Park community. The revitalization is an important opportunity, or the remaining phase of revitalization, an opportunity to help shape the future of the neighborhood. In particular, I think it's important to ensure that the community has a say in what happens, particularly since the work of the group is to focus on community benefits and economic development opportunities for the community. I think it's very important, and I think the only way to do that is to get the community involved. And so working on developing a strategy for that. I think also it's been a good opportunity for me to understand what's going on in the community in terms of the revitalization, how that works, how TCHC makes decisions, but also the role of the community in that process. And I think it's been a great learning opportunity for me.
I've wanted to be involved in Regent Park for a very long time, long before I actually moved here. There was a lot of talk about what was going on, about the whole process of revitalization, and understanding that this was a first time of combining a mixed income, mixed use neighborhood, which, personally, politically, I believe in. And so I've purposely moved here, and I would like very much to be involved.
The reason why I wanted to get involved with Revitalization Working Group is to learn more about revitalization, especially around phases 4 and 5 of Regent Park. Before joining the group, my understanding of revitalization was that, we are making new buildings and demolishing the old buildings. But through my work and through collaboration with my fellow volunteer members, I learned that revitalization involves more than just creating new buildings. It's more about strengthening our community of Regent Park, as well as make sure that the neighborhood is open for everyone to thrive and feel safe.
The Revite Working Group, it's a group that's been formed out of advocacy, and it was very important at the time because we were in a very critical pathway where one phase of revitalization was ending and another part was beginning. So when the opportunity presented itself, I thought it best because I wear a lot of hats in the community. I've been a resident of this community till when I was 15 years old. I've began volunteering here extensively and then began to work here in the neighborhood. So I knew the different aspects of the neighborhood and what it would take to sort of make a big impact. So the Revite Working Group was an opportunity to do that, and it came out of advocacy from the Regent Park Neighborhood Association. And through that advocacy, we wanted a much more control by residents to shape the future of the neighborhood, and this was an opportunity to do that.
We asked the group what they've been working on so far. This is what Daniel said.
So we've been working on developing an engagement strategy for the community for the developer presentations. We've been trying to make sure the community knows what's happening, that they know about the revitalization, and they also know how they can get involved. We're trying to hear from the community in terms of their priorities, so we've been developing strategies for that. And we've also been thinking about the types of questions we might want to ask at the presentation as part of the proposals that developers will have to present to the community.
This is what Ismail had to say about the working group impacting the community.
I think we're making huge impacts. I think we've changed the way TCHC and typical development is done. Usually, as I said before, typical development involves only the developer and the city, and TCH in this case. There is no community process or community connection to the whole process. But in this case, we made sure through the Revite Working Group, by having residents give advice and recommendations, we've changed how the whole process is done. Regent Park is known to be one of the first few communities that that's unique in terms of how it does its engagement. We are the first community that has a social development plan. We are also the first community that made the process of selecting a developer trilateral, involving the community. And that's a huge impact. One of the recommendations we made in the group was in terms of community benefits. But in this phase, what we wanted was what sort of an agreed upon community benefits. And in the Revite Working Group, we said we want in the request for proposal, the actual document that goes to the developers, that it includes their conversation or talks about community benefits. That was our recommendation that we brought it from the group, and it was adopted by TCH. And I believe this couldn't have happened without having the Revite Working Group.
And we asked Ayman, how has it impacted her? This is what she said.
It has made me a more informed resident of the community for sure. And I've been able to collaborate and learn from my peers as well as TCHC staff. And definitely learned that revitalization is not about new buildings or creating new spaces. It's more about strengthening our community.
And this is what Marlene hopes for the future for the Revite Working Group Committee.
I really want this to succeed. I think certainly we know that the world is watching, that there are people come in from all over the world to see how we're doing here. Yeah. And I think in terms of my city, in terms of my country, I think it's important to succeed. We should be the kind of neighborhood that people look to in the city to do elsewhere, to do in other areas where there's social and community housing. And it should be a place where we all feel at home. I know that within a year, this felt like my home. This felt like community for me.
From talking with Daniel, Marlene, Iman, and Ismail, we learned that the Revite Working Group is an important part of engaging residents in Regent Park development. I'm glad we got to know a little bit about them
And their vital work.
Until next time, I'm Jamelia.
And I'm Lorena
from Regent Park TV. Bye!